Good afternoon. We'd like to welcome you to the study session for the Mesa City Council for the afternoon of May the 15th. All of our council is present. First item on our agenda for this meeting is to review the agenda for our meeting upstairs that will follow this one. So, Council, I know we went over this just a few days ago, but any additional questions or any additional information you're looking for regarding tonight's agenda? Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Summers, you said to pull five what?
Five Echo, 5E.
5E, okay. 5E will be off of the consent agenda. Anything else, council? All right, this could be a pretty short meeting. Item 2 then is to acknowledge receipt of various boards. Oh, I'm sorry.
We need a update on item, what is it?
10A.
10A. We've received some additional letters regarding the assessment, so we just want to share that with the council.
Oh, great, okay, thank you.
Sorry about that, thank you.
All right, so 10A is off the consent agenda. This is the public hearing that we're taking regarding the Mesa Town Center Improvement District. And when we last met, I think we just had one person that objected, and things have changed a little.
Yes, Mayor and Council, just today we received 2 additional letters of protest for the assessment. One for a property located at the southeast corner of Country Club and 2nd Avenue, which is a vacant piece of land. It's just as you're coming up the underpass from the railroad crossing. Just the protest for that, in that case, was essentially, it read as a protest to tax in general. The other protest we received was for 145 East First Avenue. And their protest was based on the fact that they consider themselves a 501c3 and that they should be exempt from property taxes. We've done our research. They have been paying property taxes since 2015 on that property. And we've looked at the Corporation Commission. It looks like they have been administratively, how do they describe it? I'm going to use the right word. Administratively inactive. They have not filed with the Corporation Commission in a number of years, so it appears their 501c3 exempt status is no longer valid, and they have been paying taxes on that property since 2015.
Okay. And so for the first, and I'm sure we'll listen to them upstairs, but the vacant piece of property, the assessment is based on improvements and the value of the property, is that correct?
The assessment is based off of the size of the parcel and the amount of linear frontage on streets. And then if you're a vacant parcel, there's also an additional charge for vacant parcels because they actually do generate more activity that DMA has to do more cleanups because of illegal dumping and things along that line.
Okay.
You said that's the southeast corner?
Yes.
Is that where there's a single residence there?
The most that we could see at any time on looking at Google Maps was 2 RVs parked there.
It's not.
There was a gentleman who came out and objected to a zoning case, but we think this is different.
Well, because I think you said Country Club and 2nd Avenue.
2nd
Oh,
Avenue.
2nd.
So it would be
Okay.
South.
further, yeah.
Okay. All right, so
Had the same thought.
they've electronically put in their objections, and I guess time will tell if they're upstairs in person or not.
So in total, Mayor, we have three properties that have formally filed a objection to their assessment. That totals just right about $5,100 of the total $383,000 plus as assessed. So right around 1.3% of the assessed value has been protested.
Okay.
Mayor.
Yes, Ms. Pillsbury.
So do you respond to them individually, or is it just a matter of whether we vote it through or not?
If they show up in person, then they'll be able to address council during the public hearing portion of it. But the most that we will likely do to respond to these is let that one property know that if they are truly intending to be a tax exempt nonprofit, that they need to go through some steps with the county to get that actual designation back on their property.
And what was the one from last week protesting?
The one from last week is, it's this, try not to call out the person. It is the northwest corner of Centennial and Main Street. It's a nice little sandwich shop. That is, again, similar to the other one that we received today, is opposed to tax assessment in general.
Just taxes in general.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, Ms. Duff?
How are the taxes paid? Are they assessed on the property tax?
Yes.
Okay, so as part of the property tax bill, is not a separate check that they write to the DMA?
Right,
Okay.
it is just like the property tax bill that we get at our home. They all have an opportunity to do a first half and a second half, and all of the Mesa secondary property taxes, all the school district taxes, the special assessment taxes, all of those, we looked through their tax bill, and they have been getting the same, you know, they had the exact same tax last year for the downtown assessment, and they paid last year's bill, and they have paid this year's bill as well.
So that was my second question. Is there an increase overall? I know each parcel is kind of different because of its makeup, but the assessment this year is the same as last year? That's
Exact
what I
same
thought
dollar
you
amount.
said, but
Yep.
I just wanted to clarify.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Council, any other, Mr. Brady, any other items staff would like to update us on the agenda for upstairs? All right, thank you. Next item, item 2, is to acknowledge receipt of various board and committee meeting minutes. Is there a motion to that effect? Thank you, Ms. Pillsbury and Mr. Freeman. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, that passes unanimously. Item 3 on this agenda is current events and conferences attended. Council, what would you like to share with us?
There's better people to
The
speak to
mayor
the
will
ones I
say
was
things
gonna
about you
say.
guys if you don't, talk about what you've been doing.
Go ahead.
I'll go.
Okay,
Just want to thank the
We have a reputation.
Parks Department, staff, lifeguards, that we had our spring blast on Friday. Got a good amount of people out there, so thank you. Thanks to Lucy, council coordinator, did a great job in outreaching, and everybody that helped out there. So thank you, everybody, for coming out at Rhodes Junior High this past Friday.
Thanks for doing that. I know that's a very popular event.
Okay, I'm just going to jump right in there because time is wasting. On Thursday, I attended the Maricopa Associated Governments Human Services and Community Initiatives Committee. I'm vice chair of that committee. We talked about some homeless strategies and some transit funding for ADA access. Let's see. Mr. Freeman would probably talk about the firefighter graduation, so I'll leave that. On Friday, I spoke to Valley Leadership about the downtown area. They're very interested in the success that has happened here. And that night, I attended the Mesa Contemporary Arts reception and of the opening exhibition that they have. It's always amazes me every time I think they can't outdo themselves, and they did again. It's a tremendous exhibition. The museum is free. I saw the mayor there as well on Friday evening. On Saturday, there was a historic preservation month special event where we recognized the Historic Preservation Board annually recognizes students who submit essays and art around historic preservation. We are none-fill students. We did a walking tour of the historic properties. We had a great discussion about historic preservation within Mesa, and May is Historic Preservation Month, and I think we'll be recognizing that in just a few minutes. That night, I attended the East Valley Hispanic Chamber of Commerce Mother's Day Mariachi concerts. Councilmember Freeman was there as well. It's an annual event for Mother's Day, and phenomenal entertainment, and the dress and the event is well attended, and I really appreciate that they have it here in Mesa. And I think that's about it. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Pillsbury, anything to add to that? Okay.
Do the firefighter.
Mr. Summers?
I'll do one. I usually don't do these, but I wanted to bring this up. I wanted to extend my appreciation to the American Leadership Academy of Applied Technologies, which is in Southeast Mesa, for hosting the Drop Zone Foundation in conjunction with Congressional District 5. The drop zone is for current military and mostly for our veterans that connect with services. We saw several health organizations out there. They get help with their taxes through the congressional district. They can get help with any issues they have, even connecting if they're trying to start a business. They're able to do that. So this is an event that goes on regularly, and I wanted to bring this up because you know, the Mesa Chamber of Commerce also has resources for our veterans, and I would want to encourage any veterans who are listening to access the resources that you can get through your congressional district, but also through the Mesa Chamber of Commerce. I also wanted to bring up that I ran into Sergeant Sean Stoddard there. Do you remember Sergeant Stoddard? Yeah. So Sergeant Stoddard was severely wounded in the line of duty and can no longer work. And I had the opportunity to speak with him for about 15 or 20 minutes. And he brought up that his industrial case had not been closed out. He had not been informed of a decision yet. So I reached out to Kavanaugh, Mr. Kavanaugh, who Dennis Kavanaugh used to serve on this board, is now chair of the Industrial Commission. And by the end of the weekend, he had, the case apparently had been closed, had not been entered into the system, and he had not been informed. He should have been informed today that the case is closed, and he finally will be able to get on with his life. So I'm really wanted to express to Dennis Kavanaugh my appreciation for really looking into this case, and just say that whether it's the Industrial Commission or the VA or whatever organization, our veterans, our police officers, and our firefighters put their lives and their families on the line every single day when they go in. And whether they get cancer or they're hit or they're wounded in combat, our organizations, our government organizations really have to do better to move these cases through, get these people to a place where they can heal and get back to being a productive member of society. So what Mr. Kavanaugh did was a great example of trying to move mountains for people. So thank you much.
Great, thank you, Mr. Summers. Mr. Freeman.
Thank you, Mayor, and I'll tag along to Mr. Summers. We had our firefighter graduation this past week, so multi-agencies, a regional academy, and I was at the Mesa Arts Center, so I appreciate all of council being there that were there. But more importantly, we had 16 new recruits, and one of the recruits is a son of one of our deceased Mesa firefighters, so he's fulfilling his father's steps and coming into our academy. He had prior experience up at the Kingman Fire Department, but his mother's a dispatcher for Mesa PD, his sister's a dispatcher for Mesa Fire, and his brother's also a fire mechanic for fire fleet support. So making a family deal to where all of them are coming back, and so we invite him and his family, and we appreciate their service and all the new graduates. I could tell they had stars in their eyes. They were just so excited to be out on shift and enjoy their new careers. So excited about them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. Council, anything else you'd like to share with us? Mr. Brady, what does our schedule of future meetings look like?
Thank you, Mayor. Just to remind the council that we won't be having a regular council study session this Thursday, but we'll be meeting with Mesa Public Schools Governing Board on Thursday, the 18th, in the boardroom of the Mesa Public Administration Building at 549 North Stapley. We'll send this out. And that will begin at 7:30. And so we will see you at that location for that joint meeting, and then we'll reconvene for our next regular study session on May 25th at 7:30.
Yes, Mr. Summers.
For that meeting, I have a conflict that day. I have a line sighting committee meeting that I need to attend to. So
Okay.
if that clears up, I'll make it over there.
Okay, great. Yeah, well, you'll be excused if you're not there.
Thank you.
I neglected to acknowledge that I had some visitors with me today. I attended I think some of us were at the Hacktivate activity that ASU did at the Mix Center a few weeks ago. And when I was there, I was privileged to meet some of the team members that were participating in that, and were graduate students at ASU from the country of Indonesia. And we struck up a conversation, and today I'm happy that we have 8 Indonesian graduate students that I had the privilege of meeting with earlier today, and they're kind of paying it. Some of these folks are masters of public administration folks that will go back to Indonesia and be the leaders of city governments in that country. So I just wanted to thank them for joining us at our meeting. Would you please mind standing just so we can acknowledge your presence at the meeting? Thank you very much. Good to have you with us today. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, that concludes the items on our agenda for this meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn? Thank you, Mr. Summers. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you. We are adjourned, and we will reconvene at 5:45 upstairs.